Asked by Josh's mom to read a passage that he identified with on several occasions. The dream of a ridiculous man. I am a ridiculous man. Nowadays they call me mad. That would be a step up in rank if they did not also persist in regarding me as ridiculous. But these days I no longer get angry at that. These days they are all dear to my heart, and even when they make fun of me, then too, for some reason I cherish them, if anything, even more. I would join in their laughter, not so much at myself, but out of love for them. If it didn't make me so sad to look upon them, sad, because they do not know the truth, whereas I do. Ah, how painful it is to be the only one to know the truth. But they won't understand this. No, they won't understand. Reverend John Devlin.
Good evening. I was asked to come up here and read these words. These are Joshua's mother's words. This is in the hand of Deirdre Rahn. I'm just going to be her mouth tonight. Joshua Rahn was a force of nature. Like the wind, he danced through our lives. He moved by a force that we could not see and few understood. He had a vitality and a love for life that could not be ignored. When Josh entered a room, everyone knew it. It was as if a gale-force wind blew the door open and swept up everything or everyone that wasn't tied down. Those people that allowed themselves to be caught up in Joshua's energy found themselves released from the anchor of concrete ideas and the expectations of society. They had the opportunity of being lifted up and carried away in his current. And for a moment, they could see the world through his eyes. No limits, no boundaries, an expansive sea of possibilities. But it was difficult for most to ride the wave for too long. His direction would shift, but our sails would remain empty, and we would be left watching. And now the wind has shifted once again. It has changed direction, and the sails that we are given in this human life cannot carry us where he is going. His force is not gone, and his dance has not ended. So go out and stand in the sun. Let the wind touch your face, and remember the energy, love, and joy that is Joshua Rahn. We brought a box that's positioned up front, and it'll also be positioned over at the American House when we're done here with some line paper in it. The box is set up so that all you, the friends of Joshua, can write a little note in there to his son, Ogden, letting him know what kind of person his father was. So we'd appreciate it if you guys all jotted something down before you leave. Thank you.
On his life, because Josh and I, we've been friends since we met back in Tech, and I met a lot of influential people then, but Josh was always different. We knew we'd be in for some good times because he lived to his own beat. He's one of the few who truly live for the now. He had the freedom and the spontaneity to accomplish near anything. And our common interest in mods grew and truly helped me realize my calling in life. And not just me, but he touched a lot of people. And he didn't always have the best advice, but he'd make people see the world a little different. He always made the implausible possible. He could do anything if he just had enough faith. He was the kind of like a jack of all trades, a master at one or two, and he just made things work, like a MacGyver, only a little cooler. Just near limitless potential. And it still seems so unreal at this point, and I guess it will for a while. I'm just used to him disappearing for months at a time and popping up from some epic adventure. When I worked in a local shop, I'd always tell my friends, my co-workers, the artists and clients, and they'd take it with a grain of salt about this guy, and Until one day he just popped in from California with half his face burned off from a fire-breathing incident. It shocked them into respect. It's hard to diss a man who seems to have no fears. I mean, we all have our demons, but that man could do anything. And you know, he lived more in his 21 years than most people ever will. He knew how to have a good time, no holds barred. Traveling to Cali on the back of a train, hitchhiking the country, he met and partied with some of the most eccentric and interesting people ever. From Shannon Lorette to Cutthroat, and chilling with the Coney Island Pirates was one of the best times I've ever had. Anyone who really knew Josh, though, knew the stunts and the mods, they weren't for attention. He was always about growth and evolving, sometimes ritualistically pushing himself forward. And he wanted to show that it could be done his way. Not necessarily that it should, but it could. And that's why he really made a mark, at least in the mod industry. I remember him calling me that day from Canada, randomly, you know, he was so excited about it. He told me, he's like, man, I did something that's going to blow everyone's mind. He's like, never been done before. And I didn't realize, you know, for a few weeks what he was talking about. But, you know, now you can't even type in the word I in Google without seeing his face. He's everywhere. I don't think any one person knows the entire life and legacy of Josh. But me and him helped each other through thick and thin. Some of the best times we ever had were when he came to me with the idea of the sideshow, and I jumped at the chance. We filled the vaudeville act great. We got some of the best pics of him at his finest, doing what he does. And not to mention the great people met, and I'll never forget, and I'm sure they will never forget Josh. But you know, who could? Who could forget that guy? And, you know, he got more than his 15 minutes of fame, and his family should be very proud. God bless his mother, though. She said, I love you no matter what, and he put it to the test. But he cared for his family fiercely, even if he didn't let you know. You know, everyone quarrels, but he was obviously willing to do anything for his child, you know, and that's his true legacy. He wanted the world for him, and you just can't reach out and take it. And this is going to be hardest for Lauren, and she needs our support now. But even without it, she would keep calm and carry on. And, you know, I'm going to miss him. I'm going to miss our manic mad scientist talks, our hours of toy and object manipulation, some good old D&D, you know. He was actually a nerd at heart. We'd play video games for hours and hours and just chill. And that was Josh. That was a side a lot of people didn't see of him. But you know, Josh would want us to be propelled by this, pushed forward, become better for it. As tragic as it is, at least this was big. At least, you know, someone like him can't go out without making a scene. The world is still feeling the ripples. And if he taught us anything, it's that we should live for the now and make it count, because you never know what's around the corner. And I know it's not proper for a normal funeral, but Josh always had a flair for the dramatic, and I need to send him out with one final ovation. And I please just clap with me for a moment, just send him off right for the most amazing entertainer, connoisseur, and family man you could ever have.
Okay, we'll begin dismissing from the last row then.